If you could have a coach help you identify and focus on what's important, would that accelerate your success? If you answered yes, then this podcast is for you. Each week, my guests, professional coaches, will share one actionable piece of advice to help you level up wherever you need it most. My name is Chris Ippolito, and welcome to the Get Coached podcast. Hi, and welcome to another bonus episode of the Get Coached podcast. Bonus episodes typically just mean it's me kind of sharing some thoughts, things that have been on my mind, or lessons learned, especially from conversations with some of the coaches. For this one in particular, it's more of a personal thing, something that came up since a couple days ago. My wife and my son went on a trip for 2 weeks. And I don't think I've mentioned this on the show before, but so my son is 17 weeks old and he's going to be gone for 2 weeks. So that got me thinking, as far as the math of it was, when he gets back, I'll have missed 10% of his life since he's been born. And I thought that's crazy, right? That's so early on in your child's life, and you miss 10% of it. And which got me thinking to just time in general, but specifically in the case of relationships with family members, like your children or your parents or siblings or your spouse. When part of the reason I'm starting the podcast and the side business and the business is to be able to spend more time with my son and my wife and really whoever, all the people that are important to me. And I dread the idea of it not working out and me having to go back to a 40-hour per week job, because you're obviously not gone just 40 hours a week. You've got commute time. So you could probably bump that up to closer to 50 if you're working a 40-hour per week job. There's a lot of people out there that work a lot more than that and travel out of town. And so they are not seeing their family for a lot more than just 10%, because when you add it all up, the time spent at work or on the road, getting to work or whatever it be, when you start adding it up, it's you're missing such significant amount of life and time with the family and the people that we all claim to be so important to us. And I think that is without making the assumption of what is important to people or what their motivations are. But that's a big motivation for me is the freedom of time, freedom to be able to do what it is that I want to do, which is kind of going to the reason why I started the podcast in the first place, not just necessarily to get that result, but to talk to people who professionally help others achieve that goal and that dream. So business coaches in particular, because that's what I've interviewed mainly so far, is they're helping business owners and entrepreneurs get themselves more success so that they can eventually create the results that they're looking for. And again, everybody's goal is going to be different, though I do feel that freedom of time is a very common one, because a lot of people I've talked to have said that that's a big part of the reason why they are starting businesses or whatever it be. So that's a big reason why I started the podcast, was because I wanted to help other people be able to achieve that while I'm going through that whole journey on my own, starting the business and the podcast and such. Right. So I guess it's like, the podcast allows me to do two things at once. It's be able to add value to a group of people that are pursuing the same results that I am: financial freedom, freedom of time, being able to do what they want, what's important to them, while I get to learn from coaches, because while I'm interviewing them, I get a ton of value out of this, and it's just great. A lot of times it's reminders, but then I'm learning new things, which then I can apply to my business and be able to scale it to the point where I can achieve what I'm looking for. So I just wanted to share that because now it's been on my mind for the last couple of days, and I hope that this adds some value to your life and or gets you thinking a little bit more about time, how you're spending it, and just what is it that you're doing with your most valuable resource, which is time and life. So there you go. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Get Coached podcast. If you're looking for more information, you can head over to our website, which is getcoachedpodcast.com. You'll find the show notes for this and every other episode there. And if getting actionable advice every week from professional coaches is something you want more of, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.